let's talk about in your real estate business what humans should do. Then we'll get into what AI should do. And then we'll get into what is a good task to have a human in the loop, meaning human and AI working together. So first and foremost, we all have built our teams with humans, right? And it's funny nowadays that you have to emphasize this word human, but that's the world we're living in right now, of human versus AI agents within your team. So what I'd like you guys to think about is, what are some of the shortfalls of AI right at this moment? The knee-jerk response to that for me is rapport building, empathy, human on human interaction moments where we know it needs a little bit of a softer touch or some deeper psychology. AI, frankly, just hasn't gotten to the point yet where it's indiscernible from speaking with a human. There's all these different things that happen when we're talking to humans where we feel that real connection and that vibe that takes place. So that's the first thing that we can think about. And we all know in our real estate business, one of the most important things that happens in our sales room. It also happens in the corridors of our own offices, which is this whole relationship building aspect, right? So when we're talking to sellers and we want to push them over the finish line of getting a deal done, that is happening because of the know, like, trust factor, right? We talk about this a lot. It's rapport, it's know, like, trust. And that is only happening with a human right at this moment. Now, I'm one of these people who does believe that in the maybe near future, we will get to a point where AI can truly build rapport and have the conversation about your dog or what you did last weekend or what your favorite movie is, or really get into sharing a moment of pain that both the seller and the sales rep have experienced. But right at this moment, it's not quite there. So where I draw the line with what my humans should be doing on my team, they should still be doing the digging for deep motivation, having the deep psychological conversations, those empathy moments that we have. All of those things still stay within the human bucket. And we'll get into in a second how AI supports that sales process, because certainly there's room for AI to participate in that sales process. But once we get close to the money, as I like to say, and that's a mantra that I use at my with my team quite a bit whenever someone's getting lost, is what's closest to the money, right? When you're getting lost on your playbook. But these are the things that are closest to the money. Pushing a deal into the end zone, so to speak, it's probably going to happen with rapport building. So when you're drawing the line, draw the line with the emotional aspect of what your humans should be doing. Now, the other thing that I mentioned a little bit was the culture building aspect of your team. And I'm huge on culture. People who have heard me speak before, culture plus people plus systems equal positive outcomes. I'll ride with that formula to the end of time. And it is no different here. You're not going to have AI in the halls of your workspace helping you build culture, right? It might be part of your culture from the standpoint of your team lives on the cutting edge of technology, sure, and you have your team utilizing AI, but to actually build and maintain culture, that's relationships. That's one-on-ones that you have with each person on your team. That's checking in with people on a human level. That's lighting a fire under your salesperson's ass. Imagine having your AI bot try to light a fire under your top closer. That's, it's kind of a ridiculous concept. Now, can AI help with the reporting a little bit to show them where the gaps are? Okay, that maybe, but we still need human leadership, is the point, to push these sort of things, to push culture, to push accountability. AI does not have a seat at the table right at this moment on that front. Let's go to the other end of the spectrum from empathy and rapport building. This starts with the mundane tasks. This is the lower hanging fruit in your business that just needs to happen at a high volume rate. It's very repeatable. It's very repetitive. So all of us as real estate operators, the first thing that we want to support in our business, and I'm no different, is the head of the snake. What's the head of the snake? It's your sales room, right? So how do we help our sales guys be more productive on the phone? And it starts with the same adage. It never goes away. The fortune is in the follow-up, right? So you have a bunch of leads that are sitting in your CRM system, in your Excel sheet, however you organize your database. And I want you guys to think about, what would the difference be if you were able to 10x or even 50x your touches on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? What would that look like? I know we all suffer from a similar anxiety of, man, I didn't hit the phones enough today, or Jimmy and Johnny on my team just can't seem to keep up with the level of follow-up phone calls, texts, and emails I'm asking them to push out. In that same breath, I really like Jimmy and Johnny. They both are really good when they're on the phone and they're in the middle of having those deep motivation, empathy, psychological type of conversations with sellers, right? So what's the bridge there that we're trying to solve? Well, we want Jimmy and Johnny to only be on the phone with high intent seller leads on a regular basis, seller or buyer, whatever your business is. We would like them to be able to spend their whole day with the best opportunity, right? That's how we all build our business. That's why we typically have a hierarchy of cold callers, appointment setters, follow-up specialists, whatever you call them, and then your closers, your top negotiators, right? And then you're going to have a sales manager above that. So the point is, if we can get our top tier negotiators and closers dealing with the closest to the money type of opportunities on a regular basis, and if we can get that as close to 100% of their day as possible, we all know what the results are going to be. Now, Jimmy and Johnny aren't having a problem with getting deflated or demoralized from the fact that they just did 100 dials and no one picked up. We've all been there. We've all gone through that. We have good days and bad days in our sales weeks as far as just contact rate, right? And starting with some of the raw variables that we look at. That is exactly where AI is not going to deflate or be demoralized. It's a machine, right? We all know AI is built to follow a playbook, a prompt, and however you have essentially coded it and architectured it. It's not going to have a problem with going through, forget 100 dials. It can go through 10,000 dials without a pickup, and it's still just chopping wood, as I like to say. It's just trying to do the job. There is going to be no emotional pushback on that. The touches are going to go out. They're going to go out in a repeatable way as you designed it, with high volume. But here's the one caveat. That might sound like, oh, great, let's just unleash AI into every aspect of my CRM system. This is where people will start to have debates on, okay, I don't know if I'm quite ready to even have my voice model. And I use Rafi, just to be clear. I've been using Rafi for quite some time. It does voice, email, and text, and it supports my sales team in, again, getting more touches out, setting appointments, live transfers, and generally just helping me get deeper into my CRM system and helping my sales guys warm up leads in a quicker fashion so they can actually do the work that they want to do. Even my follow-up specialists, if I can get them away from having to do 300 power dials without a result and get them to work with my voice model to have a qualified conversation for them to further qualify it for a closer, that's where we start to see some of the, synergies of human and AI working together. But we're focused on how AI is operating in your business right now. The line that I will draw in my business is as soon as we start to get into those higher intent leads. And for me, let's say that's a Google search lead that came into my business today, and I paid probably $300 to $500 for that lead. I of course want my top tier closer jumping on that because there is a first impression thing that matters. We want speed to lead. We also want the best first impression with every lead that we're speaking to. That's not the reality, right? We have a team for a reason, but where you want AI is on those lower hanging fruit type of leads where there's low risk, right? Like, what's the worst that can happen when your AI is talking to a long-term follow-up lead that's been in your system for 6+ months, 12+ months? They're just going to hang up, right? That's the worst thing that's going to happen. The best thing that's going to happen is they get re-engaged, an appointment set, a live transfer is set. But again, where I'm going to draw the line is if I have a high intent lead that comes in right this second, I want my highly trained closer to jump on that. And that's where the line of delineation is going to be. Everyone's got different rules they set up in their business. Some people let their AI jump on that lead. Some people will allow that Google search lead to mature in the system. And when I say mature, I mean live in the system for maybe 14 to 21 days or longer and no contacts have been made. That's when the sales guys will invite the AI in the room to say, hey, help me chase this lead down. Let's get them on the phone, set up an appointment or a live transfer for me. The other fine wine pairing, as I like to call it, that we've been utilizing with AI is some of these lead sources that maybe we've overlooked or decided that they were inefficient in the past. I'm talking about PMAX leads, Facebook leads, any leads that are generally a cheaper cost per lead. And we're talking sub $100, sub $50 per lead in a lot of cases, especially if it's PMAX. But this is the classic case of you get what you pay for when you're buying into lower cost leads. These leads have lower intent. They take a little bit more to get through the process. and to actually see if they're even worthy of a qualification for anyone on your sales team. And in my experience, when I've opened up PMAX and said, hey, sales team, my human team, deal with these PMAX leads, there's that, eye roll, the low grumble I get from my team of like, hey, Bill, like, I appreciate you feeding us leads, but these leads are very operationally stressful and burdensome. It will take me 10x the amount of effort to convert one of these into a pass off or into a process call than it will some of our other lead sources that we play in. Okay, fine. I hear you. And it's my job as a leader to look at that data and understand the vibe in my sales room and make a decision on that front of this is an AI thing. Now I can jump back into the PMAX world because I can run all my PMAX leads through AI and have Rafi go surf for the diamonds in the rough. And once it finds that, now it's found engagement. Now we can give it back to our follow-up specialists and our closers. And then you start to build a positive relationship with your AI model in your room, working with your sales team. Because you guys can imagine, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have had this happen, where if you do have a team of folks and you bring a voice model in, there's probably a little bit of a side-eyeing thing going on, especially from your appointment setters and follow-up specialists that feel like their job is being encroached on. So this is just a little tip to all you guys out there of reframing that whole mindset of this thing is here to supercharge your effort and make your job easier. I would love to get you some time back with your family. I am not looking to replace you. I am looking to turn you into Captain America, right? That's the way that I like to talk about it. I want to give everyone on my team the super serum to turn you into Captain America. And for me, that's been using technology like Rafi and using, the other major AI services that are out there to help with things like my reporting. And there's another area of my business where AI has been very influential, is doing a full sweep of all the quote unquote boring stuff that we have to do in order to scale a business. We all know the non-sexy stuff, or maybe we don't know this, but here's the thing that I've learned. The less sexy it is, the more important it probably is to helping you scale your business. And as you're going through that and you're thinking, man, I know I should be doing that, but it's just so boring, I can't do it. That is a good signal for AI can probably help me. Because when we're talking about manipulating data and leveraging whatever CRM system or sales room data that you have, that is a very clear signal of bring AI into the room to create a workflow with that data to do two things. One, let's make the reporting prettier and easier to digest, right? The formatting that you can do with things like Claude is incredible and it's very quick. Once you get that data more organized, the second thing is even more important, because we don't just look at reporting to be like, ooh, look, this reporting's pretty. That's not the point of reporting. It's the insights that we draw from it. So between you, other leaders on your team, and even down to, the soldiers in your sales room, let me give you this prettier document, but let me also help draw insights in a cleaner fashion. We've all gone through this. I've gone through it myself, of sitting with my reporting and saying, man, this matrix code is it's kind of difficult to understand what's going on. I see several different gaps. This is one of those areas where AI can help you just immediately draw insights if you coach it and train it in the way that you have trained yourself and any managers on your team. So again, repeatable, high volume tasks that are low risk in your sales room, but also in your data and what I like to refer to as your matrix code room. Those are great areas to start considering how to implement AI.